Okay, let's get into this. Our deep dive today tackles something really fundamental. This idea of the unique self. Forever, we've kind of just assumed that each person is one of a kind, continuous,
Hmm.
from birth till death.
Right, a single thread running through your whole life. But our sources really throw a wrench in that, don't they? They dig into the philosophy first, what actually makes you you.
Like, is it your memories,
Yeah.
your body, something else? Philosophers have argued about this for ages.
Exactly. And then the sources slam that right up against future tech. We're talking a mind uploading.
Advanced brain-computer interfaces, BCIs.
And maybe even artificial general intelligence, AGI, stuff that sounds like science fiction but might not be forever.
So the mission here for this deep dive is to look at that clash, our sort of traditional idea of being this singular person.
Colliding with a future where, according to these sources, your identity could become, well, fungible.
Fungible. That word, it makes me think of commodities, like oil or grain, where one barrel is the same as the next. Applying that to a person, that feels really strange.
It does. In economics, it just means interchangeable, right? Your specific painting isn't fungible, it's unique. But a dollar bill is. Historically, we think of the self as the ultimate non-fungible thing. You are just you.
Oh, but if this tech lets you copy the pattern, the memories, personality, all that data.
Does that uniqueness just dissolve? Does the you tied to this body become just one possible version? That's what the sources are asking.
Okay, and this is where it gets kind of wild. These potential technologies seem to, make old philosophy problems suddenly very real.
They absolutely do. Take mind uploading, scanning a brain, creating a simulation.
Right.
The sources connect that straight to the classic teletransporter problem. You know, if a machine breaks you down here and rebuilds an identical you over there.
Is that person actually you? Especially if the original is destroyed, which they call destructive uploading. Oof.
Right. Or think about BCIs gradually merging your brain with computers, maybe replacing biological bits over time.
That immediately makes you think of the ship of Theseus paradox, doesn't it?
Totally. Replace every plank on the ship, same ship. Replace parts of your brain's function, still you.
And what about non-destructive uploading, where the original you stays, but now there's a digital copy?
That's literally the fission paradox from philosophy. One person seems to split into two. Philosophers tied themselves in knots over that one.
So tech could just make it happen.
Could force the issue, yeah. And AGI, artificial general intelligence, plays a big role here too.
Right. Super smart AI.
The question isn't just if it can be intelligent like us, but could a digital mind, maybe a copied human mind, actually have subjective experience, feel things?
Have consciousness, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it can,
Then what is it? Property. Or a person with rights. The sources say this leads to a massive legal headache. Who's responsible if an uploaded mind commits a crime?
you start needing maybe a sliding scale of personhood or something. It gets complicated fast.
And if consciousness can be copied and run like software, well, that opens the door to this idea of an economy of selves.
An economy of selves.
Yeah, the sources sketch out scenarios where identity itself becomes a kind of asset. Think about someone running multiple digital copies of themselves.
To do work, 247.
Exactly. Creating potentially huge economic gaps between those who can replicate their minds and those stuck with just one physical self.
That just fundamentally challenges our whole social and legal system, which is built on the idea of distinct individuals.
And it hits really personal stuff, too. What happens to love or grief if your partner could be, I don't know, restored from a backup?
Yeah?
Or a lost loved one exists as a digital copy. It changes everything.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the takeaway? We've seen how tech seems to be making these old philosophical puzzles like the teletransporter or Theseus' ship feel incredibly urgent, turning them into real dilemmas around uploading and BCIs.
Yeah, the central idea from the sources is that technology might make identity fungible, interchangeable almost. And that forces us to think about the economics, the legal status, and whether you can even survive being copied or split.
This deep dive really highlights a key point. Even if you can copy the information, the pattern of a mind, that first-person subjective feeling of being you, maybe that stays unique to the original.
Does the perfect copy really continue your existence, or is it just a new being that happens to have all your memories? It's a profound question.
Which kind of leads to a final thought for you listening. If these technologies are pushing us towards a future where identity isn't fixed, unique, or maybe even permanent, forcing us to redefine things like love, loss, the meaning of a single life, what parts of your identity, your sense of self feel absolutely non-negotiable? What needs preserving before, maybe, the tech decides for us?